utterance, whatever it might be, you have to have something that it's founded on. But when you look at it, a lot of the material that we have to deal with comes from people who are looking at us through an anthropological lens. So people who come from Europe, who come from the US, who come from other places across the world and are telling us about ourselves from their perspectives.
Lovely.
And I want to hear about us from our perspectives. Like one of my favorite storytellers is my cousin, Abu Dan. You know,
okay, yes.
he's an amazing person because he lives his own kind of lifestyle. And in a time when, you know, when I was growing up, a lot of people would often say, my grandmother used to sit us down and tell us stories. That was not my experience.
That was not your experience.
Like my grandmother and my grandfather went and they worked for the most part, you know, and there wasn't much time to do all of that.
Yes.
They had a house where they were raising 10 children of their own, and you know, other people are coming in, so it's a space where people have to be doing work all the time, right? And so I think in that space, I connected a lot with like my cousins, with my brothers and my sisters, and the people who were maybe a couple of years older than me. So a lot of the stories that I would hear would come from my cousins who were seeing things firsthand, right? And I was always taken by how exciting the story was, how amazing it was. And I was like, when we tell our stories from our own perspectives, there's nothing absolutely not. That's why we're able to do a piano lesson by August Wilson in South Africa and still have people go, this is my story in South Africa.
In South Africa.
You know, so I think my fascination in the literary space is also about, you know, it's not just representation, but to be able to see how multifaceted and nuanced our identities can be, our notions of expressivity can be, how we do poetry, how we do music, how we do, you know, all the different things that we do, how we do jazz, how we do hip hop, how we do. I mean, if Shakespeare were alive today, he'd probably be making hip hop, because the poetic form is most alive when a rapper takes up his pen and he tries to do something on the page, right? This is the exact same thing that he was doing, you know. And so to reframe those ideas and basically show myself and show ourselves that it's not that we've never been these people. We've always been people who have been making knowledge, who have been thinking about existence, who have been thinking about spirituality, who have been thinking about astronomy, whatever it might be. We've always been engaging with our world. It's just that we do it in different ways. And now I'm just curious about how we get that into the written word so that we can get the story out there a little bit easier.
Oh, baby, you know exactly what it is, and you got some beautiful people. I know you got Eddie Taba, who's also there.
Absolutely.
You got
Dr. Katlego, Ronald Mangai, Tolisi Masilela. This is the Writers' Lab.
Oh my goodness!
And we've just published our second anthology of plays called A Gathering of Stories. Yeah, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, where can people get this book?
People can get this book at Lit Culture Books at Breeze Block. That's on 29 Chiswick Avenue. They can get it at the TX Theatre, or they can follow us on Instagram or Facebook and then order directly with us via DM. And then we'll make sure that they get it.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what it is. So within our closing question, so that we can just move swiftly, because whenever do you ever get blessed with Mr. Chale? I mean, he hardly does interviews. Let's get it right.
Oh, what?
No, you hardly. I mean, you go through a season when you do, but it's like,
that's true.
It's like you ain't chasing fame. You're just doing this because
I really don't like to. That's just the thing.
But you do put that ink on the page. So with that being said, I remember you saying that you were overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And within you saying you are overwhelmed, I wanted to ask, who is then there to take care of you? Who is there for your emotional quotient moments where you need them? Yeah. Who is there, and what would you like to say to that person? And give us your final word.
My mother and my sister. My father, may his soul rest in peace. He passed on in 2022. Family, dog. Like, family for me is my North Star. It's the reason why I do what I do.
Yes.
It's where I go to find peace. It's where I go to find my resolve. My mother raised us, we're from a Christian household, and so she raised us on biblical principles, and to this day she sends us scriptures whenever I'm going through something and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what to do right now. She'll send me a scripture that addresses that very situation, and she'll remind me, pray, you know, go back to the basics. And so my sister also is wise beyond her years. she has a gift of healing and prophecy and just giving people words of wisdom. And so I am grateful that I can just lean on these, these pillars when things get really difficult. And I just want to say that, Mama, I love you. Maseko, I love you. You guys are my life. You're my light. You're the reason I do what I do. And I'm so grateful that on the first night of piano lesson, you were the first people I saw. And I missed the press photos because I was hugging my mother. And it was amazing. And so I think maybe my closing words will probably be to say that in this industry, in this job that we're doing as artists and as people who do many different things, it's important that we have a grounding, sense of grounding, a foundation that is bigger than what we're going through in every moment. And that for me is my spiritual grounding, it's my faith in God. And I hope that other people can find things that give them a sense of purpose and meaning that is bigger than their work, that is bigger than themselves, that is bigger than their ideas, their thoughts, and for me it goes back to what created all of this and what led to all of this being. I'm going to hold on to that thing. It's also still inside me, and so if it's still buzzing, if it's still alive, if I'm still breathing in my body, there's still something that can be done with this thing.
Okay. So, that's a beautiful statement, Mama. I hope you listen to that. I mean, it's so lovely to find a person who's also family orientated in this day and age. And also, just one final thing.
Yes, sir.
What do you have to say to that young Katlego, 6 years old? Now looking at that 6-year-old Katlego Chale, who's doing whatever at that time. And what would you say to that man now? To that child now as a man?
I love you, dog. I love you. You're enough. You're going to do things that you couldn't have dreamt of. And you're going to meet people that you could never have imagined you would meet. And you're going to see things that are going to change your life. So keep spreading love, keep holding on, and I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's how we're going to close it off with an I love you statement. I mean, come on, who else? We have Dr. Katlego.
You know what it is?
It doesn't get better than this, baby.
Bless you, brother. Bless you, man. Thanks, PK. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. I mean, you just made it. We got this rocked up. We got this locked in. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pass it over to the next segment on lock. Ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, let me just play you a song so that we transition quite smoothly. So if you're here with me, just listen to this that I'm about to play, because baby, we here for this. Yes, let's breathe in, let's pump it up, let's get that spirit rolling. Thank you, bye-bye.